Sunday morning YTPC. Hope everyone's enjoying a restful Sunday morning. Well, I was just watching Stefan's skip video about the 5 tobaccos that they would pick in those various categories that good old Buckeye Piper sent this VR invitation around. And of course the idea is you ask 3 others to do the same and you have a chain reaction, you know. So you might see a lot of videos on this topic, but it's a very clever question, because he actually said, let's answer this in 5 categories. So you've got your which one you like as an all-day smoke and why, which one you like of the Codger blends out there. The third one was the Friday night. Which one you come home Friday night, you're knackered, you just, you know, got all these problems from the week at work, and what is the one that brings the world back into order for you? The fourth one was a tobacco that would impress people, and the 5th one was a special occasion tobacco. So I had to actually think at least a day about this and sit in front of my racks of tobaccos and think, so what have I smoked, and how is it now, and how has it changed over 2 years? Because I've made this review indoors, so I can actually show you all the tobaccos, and it's actually pretty. It's raining now, so it's +5 degrees, so the rain is washing down the snow from the trees. It's not very pretty outside anymore. There probably will be floods in Germany and Switzerland with this, if it gets any heavier. It's just a light rain at the moment. So I did that inside, and you'll see basically what I think to those questions. But it was actually also not so easy to know who had answered what, you know, already, or may have even picked some of these. I know Rich Dark Flake, for example, has been picked by others, but that's was one of my answers. So my apologies to Laurie. I didn't realise a couple of days ago you did the video on it, and you mentioned my channel, so of course I respond, and sorry I didn't catch that earlier. So here are my 5 tobaccos. Hello everybody. This is a response to Laurie B, who nominated me to answer the impossible question of what your favourite tobaccos are in 5 categories. If I had to think about it for a day at least, and consider back what I've really liked to smoke in those categories over the last 2 years. Now, this selection will change in 3 months. Probably 1 or 2 have changed already, and in a year or 2 maybe they've all changed. So it's very difficult to answer, because I think it's a dynamic choice all the time. But with great difficulty I did pick out these tobaccos, which is the state of today, if you like, where I would probably stand. Now, the 5 categories were an OTC Codger blend, one that you would like to smoke every day. That was the hardest one. So I couldn't decide between 3 tobaccos there. I know that's cheating, but that's the truth. One you have on Fridays when you're sort of coming back from work and just want something to make you think the world is in order again. Not so much my situation anymore, being retired, but still Friday is always a special day. Then there's one here which is to impress your friends, and the last one is special occasions. So left to right, Sir Walter Raleigh Aromatic. Now that was my first love as an aromatic, and I stick by it. It's still in the very top choice of my aromatics. Anyone who's tried regular Sir Walter Raleigh, it's night and day, at least in its how flavorful it is, and I think the richness of the blend. I've tried Sir Walter Raleigh regular, and I find it slightly better than Velvet, which I thought was just a little bit boring in the sense that it was, you know, it's so mild that I couldn't really pick up much. But this one I've always loved. Every time I bought 3 large tubs because I feared Lane would stop producing it, or might do in the future, I don't know, when they got took over by Scandinavian Tobacco Group, and basically the plant in the Carolinas is being closed, I think, if it's not already closed. So bought a whole load of this, and I know I will smoke it, and I love it every time I do smoke it. It's Burley, Virginia, and it's got 2 liqueurs in it with sort of fruity kind of topping, and it's absolutely delicious. I think it's a superb Codger blend, almost no tongue bite unless you really push it, so it's easy to smoke. There's a fair amount of burley in it to make it easy to manage, and I just recommend that to anyone. And I think the last year several people did try this one and confirmed they thought, yeah, it's very good. Aromatics, for example, I trust his opinion on everything. He liked it, and it's at least about 2.9 or 3 score on tobacco reviews. And a lot of the reviewers there that I trust, they liked it too, but in the end my tongue likes it. So then we come to the everyday smoke. This that's really impossible to answer, because there's a dozen tobaccos I think I could smoke all day, because they are either mild and or perfectly blended and balanced, and they don't give any tongue bite at all, even if you try, you know. So those are my criteria for good all-day smoke. And the one I'm favouring right now is Crooner, which I've mentioned in several of my videos, which has deer tongue in it, and I find it quite a delicious balance and easy to smoke and wonderful. But if you don't like deer tongue, that might not be your cup of tea. The other one that I found very easy to smoke and always pleasant is Trout Stream. That's Hearth and Home X4 Noggins. I got mine, which I like very, very much. A little touch of caramel in there, but not too much. So it's nicely balanced with the tobaccos. And then, of course, the legendary Boswell's Northwoods, which is an English blend, but has some black Cavendish in to put some sweetness in there. So it's a little bit of a spin on an English blend, and it's not really topped as such, but the black Cavendish adds a bit of extra sweetness, and it's absolutely delicious, easy to smoke, you know, always behaves. They all behave well, you know, for everyday smoke. They have to, you know. So I couldn't choose between them. I suppose if I was forced to, at the moment I'm a bit of a crooner fan, but I love the other two, and there's probably at least 6 others I could have easily included here. So take your pick of those. Friday evening. Now I've learned more and more that I like flakes, and St. James flake was one of the ones I tried last summer, and I've done a review on it, and it's natural sweetness, and it's Virginia and Perique, of course, but just the right level, and Perique in the sense of fruitiness and dark fruits, and not what some people fear is the spicy element. It always can depend on the blend which one is coming to the front, but beautiful natural Virginia sweetness, and I just love this. And you know, if I want to feel the world is all in order after a bowl of tobacco, this is kind of a treat, and I know it'll always be good every time. So that's Friday evening. And then to impress people, I guess I could have put lots of, you know, esotericas here, or anything that's hard to get. But the one I think if I offered it to them to try as well, that they would be impressed with in the most part, would be Germain's Rich Dark Flake, which soared to the top of my all-time all tobacco ratings when I was kindly given a little sample from Carl, who was most kind to just share some with me, and I tried it and I thought, my God, this is fantastic. It's so much beautifully rich in molasses. And I was able to get later some from a tobacconist in England who sent it to my mother, and my mother sent it to me. So that's how finally I made a little stock of this. And I wouldn't open very often my jars because it might be the last. But it certainly, I think, would impress any pipe smoker that likes a little bit of sweetness. And it's a lot coming from the tobacco. It is a molasses in there as well, but it's a very rich, extremely well-aged tobacco in the flake. And then the last one, special occasions. Well, I was going to write in here any of my Christmas tobaccos because I just love them, and sometimes I smoke them during the year, not just at Christmas. But one example, let's say, which you could smoke rightly any time of year is Wilkie. The Wilkie 515 or the Wilkie Rum Cake. They are almost the same blend. There's a slight floral component in the 515, but I've tried the Rum Cake and it's practically the same apart from that small floral nuance, and I like them equally. And it was the tobacco of Basil Rathbone, and the Rum Cake variant of this was the I think 1995 Wilkie's Christmas tobacco. So yes, it could be a Christmas tobacco, but any time, any special occasion, it's beautiful. It gives a lovely aroma to the room, and so for a special occasion, at the moment, that would be my choice. And there we have it. So now you know, but as I've said, that will change dynamically in months, and as I try others, because I've probably only really smoked maybe half the tobaccos I put in the cellar, you know, as I've been preparing for the great void that could come to us, where we can't get many of these things in Europe anymore from the US. So we'll see. Probably a good idea to ask this question in a couple of 3 years and see how things have changed. Today I'm smoking my beautiful blue stem Bing's favourite pipe, rustic one, and got that for Christmas with the red one as well, and smoking beautifully, 6mm with what else, given the tobaccos that I've just mentioned, some Crooner, which is beautiful tobacco, I find. I've got 1 or 2 more with I've got 1 or 2 more with deer tongue in them, gentleman caller for example, which I've only just tried 1 or 2 bowls, so I'm going to look at that a bit more closely to see how it compares. But I'm basically a deer tongue leaf fan, you know. Well, the other part of the question was, so which other people you should suggest 3 channels who should do the same thing. Well, quite a few people have done it, so I don't know. I had tried to look around to make sure I'm not repeating someone who's already been mentioned, but that could happen. But if Jeffrey Alton Carter, Renaissance Piper, hasn't been approached yet, Jeff, why not have a go at it? I'd be very interested in what your choices are. Also one for a lady member of the YTPC, Briar, Broom. She's quite new and makes quite ever more fascinating videos, and kind of curious. She's being new, may not have all the answers to these categories, but if she would like to address the question, I'll list it down in the bucket to make sure it's really clear what the 5 categories are. Then have a go, my dear. And of course my good old Cheddar comrade over there in Rhode Island, Mike Rondeau. If you haven't been approached already to tell us your 5 tobacco choices, please enlighten us. It would be most interesting. So that's what I suggest, and I think it's a very clever question, and I think actually for all of us there's going to be 1 or 2 blends in every answer where you think, oh, that sounds good, I might have a go at that one, you know. So we're all learning that way. Got my little radio going, which is playing some Buck by chance. I was searching yesterday for a piece of Buck that actually matches the music used in the old Condor advertisements. I think my lighter is frozen over, because it sounds awfully like a piece of Buck, but I tried those apps which are supposed to recognize the music and tell you what it is, and they didn't come up with anything. So it might have been some kind of interpretation by a music director at the studio. But if anyone knows the answer to that, what piece of Buck, what prelude piano was used for the ballroom scene of the Condor advertisement in 1969, it's on YouTube, and I'll leave a link below. Let me know, because I couldn't find that exact same piece of music under Chopin or Bach or several other composers. So maybe it's an original concocted just for the advertising. Been working on restoring my power source to my TARDIS. As you know, my cold fusion cells burned out on my last trip. I realised there's just not going to be enough energy, even though a cold fusion cell is enough to run a city for a lifetime. It's still, in terms of time travel, no energy at all. So I think I've got a solution, which I shall show you in one of my next videos. Stay tuned. See you then. Take care everyone. Have a great weekend. Cheers. Bye bye.